I've never been more ready. I'm getting
Smells Like Victory is the first song off the album. I think when I first heard the sample I knew it was going to be the intro. It's kind of victorious. It kind of sounds like the music that would come on when a superhero enters the room. So I really like that. There's a lyric in the actual sample that says the day has finally come as well, and I felt like it needed to be something celebratory for just both me and the fans who've been waiting a while for it. Doctor Doctor is pretty much just me being a dickhead for 3.5 minutes. It's kind of like I've always been class clowny in that regard. So it's me putting a song in the start of the album nice and early to make sure that people aren't taking themselves too seriously. We Will Be Heard was the first single, as people know, and was also the first music video that I ever shot. So because I was aware of that, I knew it was going to get spread around a lot more and to people who hadn't probably heard of me. So I wanted to make it somewhat introductory and cover off a lot of things that I want you to know about me from the jump. And aside from that though, the main theme of the song is just that you know, people kind of paint it as though you're defiant if you don't stand up straight and do all this shit, but a lot of it doesn't matter and it doesn't make you any different as a person. So whether you study, whether you don't, whether you do whatever, you know, it's kind of like an anthem against a lot of shit like that. I Could Never is probably one of my favorite songs on the album. This one mainly for one reason. It's a story track. I like to tell stories in each of my projects at some point, but the song itself is made to make you feel unsettled. A lot of my music's made to make you feel some type of way, whether it's, you know, carefree, down in the dumps, whatever, but this one I made a point of making something that's unsettling, and I think it's really effective. An example of that is, I can't sing, but if I get 100 shots at it, I can make it work. And on this one I had sung a chorus in key and it almost sounded a little too pretty for the actual content of the song. So I actually went back and re-recorded it out of key as the character in the song, and I feel that added a lot to it. It kind of drove home the haunting nature of it almost 100 times over. So there's little tricks like that. I mean, this song feels more like a movie to me than anything else on there. 1-800-I-DON'T-GIVE-A is it's pretty self-explanatory. I set up a feedback line for people who have any criticisms about the album, being the caring guy that I am. And it's pretty much it. It'll all make sense when you hear that one. The Dice Are Dancing is the prelude to Alive, so those songs lead into each other. I think it really helps set the tone for what I was trying to convey in Alive. Alive was the second single off the album, but it wasn't really a single. It was more a case of I wanted to do another video for a song off the album, and I felt like this song would have the most impact, and there was so much that we could do it just due to the way it was written and also the layout of the track. The video was put together by EightLimb films, and that came out really cinematic. I really love how that turned out. We shot it in the city streets in the morning at like 5 or 6 a.m. As a song though, I think it stood out when it was played on air, just because there's kind of like a balls on the table honesty that you don't really hear that much on the radio. Coming Home came together really naturally. I'd just gone off the road with Illy for the Chase tour with Pagan Lipsis, and it was like a Tuesday night or something. We were both on Twitter late at night, and he flicked me a text just saying we should work, and I was all for it. I sent the beat with my verse and also the even though I'm gone for now, I'm coming home, coming home. And he put the 2 lines in the middle, so we actually wrote that chorus together. Once that was laid, I reached out to Joyride, who's someone I was hugely excited about working with. He's from the One Day crew out of Sydney. And once I had that, I felt like Jimmy Nice from Spit Syndicate was the missing piece to that record. And once we got his verse, it was a wrap. Drop the Bomb is kind of like my trademark thumper, and a bit of a favourite live. It's basically just me being a cheeky little shit that I always was over a really obnoxious, loud beat. It's more in the vein of 6 in the Morning and those type of songs that I do, and it's the kind of track that like a bus driver would uppercut someone to. Madoff was a song that I'd actually written the 3rd verse for when we were in the process of making the One Way Ticket album, and I just kept the verse. I really liked it. We'd been offered a spot at the Block Party in '09 at the Thebarton Theatre, and just because it's such an iconic venue to us, we've seen so many of our hometown heroes here in Adelaide play there, so it was like, it felt like although things weren't making sense, I was making progress, and that motivated me. I brought down a singer from Melbourne who lives in Canada now by the name of Becca. I had her in mind for the vocal for some time as we'd kind of demoed a few songs together. This album, I really wanted to drive home like musical layers to the songs, and that's maybe more apparent on this song than others. There's a point towards the end of the record where Becca's singing her verse and it collides with Hacksaw's cuts, and it kind of eclipses musically over a fresh part of the sample as well. So that's probably one of my favorite parts of the album.
I just never felt the need to wear it on my sleeve. Success came in trips to America, Fiji, Sydney, Melbourne, just hitting nearly every single week. Started to gather attention from the scene, thinking if it don't happen